I can't think of anybody in this city who would say, well, the police officer should have turned on his tail and ran like a scared rabbit. The reality is, these are dangerous people who commit mayhem and havoc in this city, and their intention is to do harm. And I can tell you, and I want to reiterate it again, it's just lucky and good police work that they dumped that vehicle, that the police were there, and it wasn't some citizen who heard somebody rummaging in their backyard who went out in the middle of the night and confronted an individual who clearly had no concern about attacking a police officer. What concerns would that person have if it's a citizen in the backyard confronting him? At approximately 10:50 p.m., members in District 5 spotted a white truck with a stolen license plate near Deerfoot Trail and Beddington Trail Northeast. Hawk 1 followed the vehicle as the male and his female passenger drove erratically through various northeast and northwest communities. Several available units moved into the area, including members of our high enforcement auto theft team, our tactical team, and members of our K9 unit. A short time later, the driver met up with the male driver of a stolen black truck. Both vehicles then drove in tandem throughout the north end of the city. At approximately 12:20 a.m., TAC members deployed a spike belt on Freeport Road Northeast in order to disable the vehicles. The black truck was successfully disabled, while the other stolen truck was still drivable. The two people from the disabled truck quickly entered the other vehicle. With all three offenders inside, it continued north on Barlow Trail at a high rate of speed. The occupants entered the community of Whitehorn, at which point the male and female passengers exited the vehicle and fled in separate directions. An officer pursued the male subject between two houses and into a backyard, where the subject turned on the officer and advanced towards the officer with a weapon clearly displayed and while verbally threatening the officer. The member discharged his firearm, striking the offender. He was taken to hospital and was later pronounced dead. The weapon turned out to be a screwdriver. And I want to make another point here. Screwdrivers will kill you just as quickly as a knife. The woman was subsequently located and taken into custody without incident. The truck that was involved continued on with the lone male driver driving westbound on 16th Avenue on the wrong side of the road. A short time later, officers were able to disable that vehicle on the off-ramp of University Drive, where they took the driver into custody. The individual then stayed in the truck, would not cooperate with the officers, would not get out of the vehicle, requiring the deployment of a police service dog, chose to fight with the dog, finally got out of the vehicle, and even then put himself in a situation where he was going to confront the police officers and was subsequently taken down with an Arwin round.
In this type of situation, the officer has absolutely no alternative but to engage this individual. It's not a situation where the officer can retreat, or as some people say in other provinces, the officer can turn and run. This is a situation where the occupants of that residence and in that neighborhood are at risk by an individual with a weapon. So I expect, and I think the public would expect, that it's reasonable that the officer would use force to stop that individual from endangering any other individual.
And I can tell you in this particular incident, I'm proud that we have officers that are out on the road arresting bad guys at 1 o'clock in the morning, especially when they're people that are, the bad guys are people that are putting others at risk, other innocent people. So my job is to say, I've reviewed the circumstances leading up to the shooting. I'm satisfied that the officers acted appropriately. I believe that, that the actions of the officers were what any reasonable person would expect.